Welcome to your flag taping video tutorial. Hooray! The items that you need to tape your flag are a 6-foot long flagpole, a flag silk, 2 crutch tips, and 2 weights. Today I am using a 5-inch and a 3-inch. The general rule for taping a flag and your weights is that you want the smaller one to be 2/3 the length of the bigger one. These are my flag weights for the fall so that it can cut through the wind. Most often weights you will see are a 3 and a 1.5, but this is what I have today. Some other items that you will need are black tape, white tape, a way to measure out at least 12 inches, a pen, clear tape, and optionally some scissors. First things first, you need to know how to tape your bolt. What you want to do is you are going to tape around the top edge of the bolt and around the bottom edge. To tape around the top edge of the bolt, you're going to take a strip of electrical tape, black electrical tape in this case. You can use whatever color you want because it won't be seen. You're going to take it and you're going to stretch it so that it curves around the top of your bolt like so. And then I normally do about 3 wraps of tape around the top, so that you get a good strong layer so that the metal of your bolt does not wear away at the metal on your pole. From there, you're going to tape the very bottom edge of the bolt. You're going to put the tape along the bottom like so. And I usually do about 6 rotations around the bottom. We do this so that the bottom edge of the bolt doesn't wear away at the metal on the inside of the pole and break the metal on the inside of the pole, basically. Some people choose to do a full layer of tape down to the bottom and then do this. I personally don't recommend it because it's adding additional weight to the bolt. We're trying to protect the bolt from the pole as much as possible, not necessarily add weight to the bolt, if that makes sense. Once you have both bolts taped and ready to go, you are going to actually go ahead and make sure that you have gotten your pole taped with its thirds. The way that you do this is by taking, again, your form of measurement and finding a foot from the edge of the pole. I've already pre-marked mine. What you will do when you find your next part, I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do for inside the silk. You're going to take your increment, whether it's this one or this one, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to do a full revolution, 2 revolutions around the pole, and then you're going to take the tape and you're going to twist it so that you can create a raised line to go around the flagpole. You don't have to do it too much, just enough that it can get around once, and then from there you can do a flat tape. I do about twice around to then cut off. You want to do these raised ones where the inside and top of the flag silk is going to be, and then you can just do 2 sets of flat ones on the bottom side. Again, they should each be 12 inches away from each other. So this one should be 12 inches from the edge of the pole, and this one should be 24. Once you have taped the increments onto your pole and know which side will be the top and the bottom, you're going to take the longer of your 2 bolts, whether it's a 5, a 3, or whatever your program is using, and you're going to put that on where the top side of the flagpole is going to be. And then you are going to adhere it to the top of the flagpole with some more electrical tape. I'm using black in this instance. Again, this part does not matter what color you're using because it's not going to be visible at the end of the day. What you do for this is you're going to take a tape and you're going to use a lot of stretching with the electrical tape to make sure that the bolt is not moving around in the top of the pole. You do one across like this and you make a big old star shape. So I'm going to be doing a total of 6 little strips of tape all across the top each time, making sure that I'm using a lot of stretch and pressure as I'm placing the tape down so that there's tension on the bolt so that it does not rattle around in the flagpole. We want to eliminate the rattling one because it is a visual, it is a noise that can be heard sometimes, which some groups might want, but most of the time the reason we don't want it is because it will rip away at the inside metal on the bolt will rip away at the metal inside and can destroy your flagpole. Have seen it happen. It was terrifying because the bolt and the pole went flying. So once it's like this and you've got 6 strips around, whatever strips around, I think I need one more. I do. Sorry, 4 strips. My bad. Once you've done that, and I know it might feel like overkill, but it's so that if the crutch tip ever comes flying off, the bolt doesn't go with it as well. You're going to take a strip about half on the actual pole itself and half on the bolt, like so, and you're going to stretch and go along the top side. I'm going to do it about 2 revolutions around, just so that it's extra secure, and so that as wear and tear occurs, there's a bit of an extra layer between the bolt and the crutch tip, so that it's protection so that the crutch tip doesn't rip as a result of the bolt moving around as well. A good hot tip, if your school is planning on using the same type of taping for both the top and the bottom of the flagpole, is taping one end of your crutch tip differently than the other, so you can differentiate when you untape a flagpole to redo it. Pole fully prepped and ready for a flag silk. You're going to take your flag silk and identify where the top and bottom of your flag silk is. Depending on the company and the design of the flag, it can be very obvious. For me, since I have an all black flag, it's a little harder. You want to look and see wherever the dropped end of your flag silk is. Every flag silk is made different, but most every single one is made with an arched curve, and so you can figure out where the bottom flag silk is just by holding it up and just examining it. In this instance, this is once you've identified where the bottom of the flag silk is, that is what you'll put the side of the sleeve that you'll put onto your flagpole first. So then the bottom is at the bottom closest to the middle of the flagpole. From here, we're going to adhere the flag to the pole. The way that this works is if you are lucky enough to have a flag that has a little tab connected to it, you will use that to help adhere your flagpole to your flag to the flagpole. I simply sit here and I leave a little bit of a bit over top so that I can put it over top so it gets a stronger hold once the crutch tip is on. And I'm going to start by putting about half of the tape on the flag, half of it on the pole. And I simply go around a couple times, like so, just in a flat manner, and then I take it up over top to the rest. I don't want to do too many layers of tape up here because we have to think about getting our crutch tip on that. You can go ahead and we can add our crutch tip onto the end of the pole. I have fairly new crutch tips, so it's going to be a little hard for me to get it on. Once you get your crutch tip on, we're going to follow a very similar thing to what we did earlier when we were putting our bolt on, where you're going to take some strips of tape and you're going to make a whole bunch of X's over top. This one will require 4 more pieces of tape, and then you will wrap it around and connect it to the flag. Once you have the crutch tip taped on, and I went ahead and also did my other one, you're going to take the sleeve of your flagpole and you're going to want to find the spine of it. That's where all of the sewing has been done, and you're going to want to make sure that it's laying evenly and flat. We don't want to tape it on twisted because it's going to cause your flag to spin weird. And once you've done that, you'll make sure you're nice and smoothed out, and then you will tape. And that's essentially your flag all taped at the bare minimum. So if you're just doing a personal flag, this is all you need to do. If you're a friend that ever needs to tape a flagpole black, like mine is silver, and your coach is like, you need to tape it black, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take long strips of tape after you finish taping your flag and go from the one end all the way down to the next. And then you'll do that in long strips all the way around the flag so that you can get a nice black pole. And our last order of business is taking a nice small white piece of tape that we've put our initials or some way of identifying ourselves on to, putting that on the end of both crutch tips, and then taking a piece of white Scotch tape and putting it over top so it doesn't fade off, and then you're done. And once you've gotten that done on both ends of the crutch tip, you now have a fully taped flag. Congratulations!